do 30 ball rallies. It's 2 balls. She's going to the knee.
You're very quick.
I'm not going. I'm going a normal speed. After any rep here, I go at medium pace speed. But she can't every single point.
During the 2023 U.S. Open, a WTA referee allowed Laura Siegemund to repeatedly violate the shot clock 4 times while simultaneously calling out Coco Gauff for serving too fast. Forced to approach the chair and demand equal enforcement, Coco watched as her opponent broke the rules with minimal consequence. The inconsistency became so obvious that even the crowd turned against Siegemund, before quickly realizing the real issue wasn't the player, it was the officiating. What followed turned into one of the most uncomfortable umpiring moments of the tournament. Was this incompetence, bias, or an official overwhelmed by the moment? To understand just how bad it truly was, we need to revisit exactly what happened in this first-round match, because the details make the officiating look even worse than you might expect.
She's never ready when I'm serving. She went over the clock like 4 times. You gave her time violation once. How is this fair? No, you're calling the score after the point is over. It's not like we're playing 1 point. You're calling the score like 6 seconds after the point is over.
Yeah, she's 100% right.
You missed her like 4 times.
Coco Gauff faced Laura Siegemund in the first round at Arthur Ashe Stadium, with a roaring home crowd behind the American star. Coco was the favorite, expected to advance, but Siegemund had other plans. She used every gamesmanship tactic imaginable to slow the match and disrupt Coco's rhythm. The WTA rule is clear. Players have 25 seconds between points, counted down on a shot clock. If you don't serve before it hits 0, it's a time violation, no judgment call, just objective measurement. Yet, Siegemund let that clock hit 0 at least 4 times, according to Coco, before the umpire finally intervened. And how many violations were actually called? Just 1. Meanwhile, Coco served at a normal, medium pace, no rush, no trickery, just playing tennis the way it's meant to be played. And somehow, that became the problem.
Everybody in this crowd knows it's not meant to lie. I've been quiet the whole match. I didn't think they clocked me and gave her time violation because she's been missing for like 6 points. That first set, every game, second set, every game. I didn't say nothing, but now it's ridiculous. I don't care what she's doing on her serve, but my serve, she has to be ready.
Okay, well said. As if she didn't have the crowd on her side enough.
Well, she spoke her piece.
Yeah,
She was right.
By the third set, Coco Gauff had had enough. She marched up to the chair and confronted the umpire directly. She went over the shot clock at least 4 times, and you've only given her 1 violation. How is that fair? Coco explained. I'm serving at a normal, medium pace. This isn't a tantrum. It's a legitimate question about why the rules are being enforced so unevenly. The fact that she had to ask for equal treatment spoke volumes about just how poorly this match was officiated. Eventually, the umpire finally penalized Siegemund for another shot clock violation, giving Coco a 5-1 lead in the deciding set. And what did Siegemund do next? She marched up and complained that Coco was serving too fast.
We're playing 25 minutes this game. No, but a little bit mercy. I mean, every umpire is doing that. No, you don't, and we know it. You're smiling even.
She's serving extremely fast, almost unreasonably fast, Siegemund complained. And I'm always waiting. One time I even went to the towel. Think about that logic. Coco was playing at a normal pace, following the rules, yet Siegemund repeatedly violated the shot clock at least 4 times and somehow had the audacity to call Coco's play unfair. The umpire actually entertained her complaint instead of shutting it down immediately. There's no rule against serving fast. There's no requirement to wait beyond giving your opponent reasonable time to get ready. The shot clock exists precisely to prevent stalling like Siegemund's. Yet somehow, Coco following the rules became controversial, while Siegemund breaking them got sympathy from the chair. In her post-match press conference, Coco revealed just how much pressure she was under during this match.
I was really patient the whole match. She was going over the time since the first set, and I never said anything. I would look at the umpire, and she didn't do anything. And then, obviously, the crowd started to notice that she was taking long, so you would hear people in the crowd yelling time or, you know, doing the watch motion. It got to the point where she was doing it a lot on my serve, and My issue with that was the ref was calling the score like a couple seconds after the point was finished. So it made it look like I was serving abnormally fast, but that's where I was getting annoyed too. And it wasn't like we were having long rallies. So I was finally happy when the time violation came. But obviously on my serve, I was like, she has to be ready when I'm serving.
Coco explained that she had been patient the entire match. Siegemund had been over the time limit since the first set, and Coco didn't complain initially. She just looked to the umpire, hoping for enforcement, but nothing happened. Even on Siegemund's serve, Coco gave extra time out of courtesy. But the stalling became constant, even on Coco's own serves. And it wasn't just the shot clock violations. The umpire was announcing the score several seconds late after each point, which made Coco appear to be serving unusually fast when she was simply playing at a normal pace. That small detail gave Siegemund ammunition for her complaints. Whether it was intentional incompetence or just poor timing, the result was the same. It made Coco look like the problem when she was the one following all the rules.
To open this set.
I know, it's the rules. It's not allowed to sit.
Siegemund must have said something.
Coco admitted she doesn't like confrontation and wasn't sure she should speak up until the rule violations happened repeatedly. She spent the entire match weighing whether to say something, worried about coming across as a complainer or damaging her public image. Think about that pressure, a 19-year-old in the first round of the US Open, at home, facing an opponent blatantly breaking the rules, and she's hesitating to advocate for herself because of how the world might perceive her. Coco constantly thinks about her maturity level. One misstep, and people will attack her. She had to carefully express frustration without losing control, all while trying to win a high-stakes match. That's an enormous emotional burden for any teenager. All of this happened because the umpire refused or couldn't enforce basic rules. Eventually, the official gave Siegemund a point penalty, swinging momentum in Coco's favor. Siegemund rallied briefly to 5-4, but Coco held her serve and won the match 3-6, 6-2, 6-4. She survived the chaos, advanced, and went on to win her first Grand Slam title at age 19, but this first-round battle nearly derailed everything. And next, we'll break down Laura Siegemund's post-match press conference, which reveals a shocking lack of self-awareness about what actually happened.
The first time I'm crying in a press conference. As a tennis player, you are a performer. You owe the people. You owe the kids that watch. And I'm just a bit, at the end of the day, I go home and I can look at myself and I can say, I did a great job. But did I get anything from the people for that? Even less than a zero, because they treated me bad. Like, they treated me like I was a cheater, like I was like trying, sneaky ways to win this match or something. They treated me like I was a bad person. But there are people who are throwing rackets, who are screaming, who are like making bad gestures toward the audience. I did not one moment in the whole match, and there was a lot of tension going on. Not one moment I did anything. I was just slow. And that's something in the rule. I get my time violation. That's fine. Yeah. No. I don't know.
Siegemund appeared emotional and tearful during her post-match press conference. She spoke about how tennis players are performers who owe the audience something. She said she could go home feeling proud, but instead, the crowd treated her terribly, like a cheater, like she was using sneaky tactics, like she was a bad person. She insisted she never threw rackets, screamed, or made gestures at the audience. But here's the truth. Siegemund did things that earned the crowd's hostility. She repeatedly violated the shot clock, used every stalling tactic to disrupt Coco's rhythm, and then complained when Coco played at a normal pace as if that were unfair. These weren't innocent mistakes or minor infractions. They were gamesmanship tactics designed to gain an unfair advantage. Siegemund tried to play the victim, claiming the crowd was overreacting to a minor issue. But the audience wasn't upset about her being slow. They were upset about her blatantly breaking the rules while pretending to play fair. The crowd wasn't upset with Siegemund's demeanor. They were upset with her conduct. She broke the shot clock 4 times, yet got minimal consequences, while Coco had to advocate for herself just to get equal treatment. Siegemund's final comment was telling. She compared herself to players who throw rackets, scream, and make gestures, implying she was being treated unfairly. But she completely missed the point. The crowd wasn't reacting to politeness, it was reacting to blatant rule-breaking. Even 2 years later, the 2023 US Open clash is still remembered. Sky Sports commentator Jonathan Overend, previewing their 2025 Wuhan Open matchup, called Siegemund a famously slow player and referenced the frustration from their prior match. Coco, ever professional, called Siegemund a tricky, experienced opponent, yet behind that diplomacy, she remembered exactly what happened in 2023 and prepared accordingly. This match exposed several deep issues in tennis officiating. Inconsistent rule enforcement. The shot clock is clear and measurable, yet umpires let Siegemund slide while scrutinizing Coco. Objective rules should be enforced every time, without exceptions. Complaints against rule followers entertained. When Siegemund complained Coco was serving too fast, the umpire should have shut it down immediately. Serving fast is not a violation. Power dynamics favor veterans. Young players like 19-year-old Coco face harsher scrutiny, while experienced veterans receive leniency. Emotional labor on young players. Coco had to manage her frustration, her image, and public perception, all while facing blatant gamesmanship. That's an unfair burden on a teenager. Instant regret came from every direction. The umpire for failing to enforce the rules consistently, Siegemund for her tactics backfiring as the crowd turned against her, and the WTA for the optics of biased officiating. But one person didn't regret a thing: Coco Gauff. She stood up for herself, demanded fair treatment, maintained her composure, and went on to win the tournament. That's not regret, it's vindication. The 2023 US Open first-round match between Coco Gauff and Laura Siegemund will go down as one of the most controversial officiating moments in recent tennis history. Not because of a bad line call or a questionable let, but because the umpire refused to consistently enforce a clear, objective rule, forcing a 19-year-old to demand equal treatment just to get a fair match. Siegemund repeatedly violated the shot clock with barely any consequences, while Coco followed the rules and faced scrutiny. Coco had to walk up to the chair and demand fairness before the official finally started doing their job. The backlash was immediate, the controversy national, and 2 years later, this match is still remembered for its officiating disaster. Coco? She stayed composed, stood up for herself, and went on to win her first Grand Slam, turning chaos into vindication. Smash that like button and subscribe for more breakdowns of officiating disasters that almost derailed iconic moments in sports.